Using Creative Commons images to train artificial intelligence. Published by Andres Guadamuz on March 13, 2019. Whenever I have presented about artificial intelligence in the last few years, I often get asked the question of whether training an AI with data can infringe copyright. Take for example Bot Dylan, a machine learning project that has been trained using 23,000 folk songs. Does the music it produces infringe copyright? The accepted answer is no. Training an AI by making it listen to music is no different to a musician listening to various songs and being influenced. But the problem is often not the resulting output, it is all about having lawful access to content that can be scraped and analyzed by the machine learning algorithm. Storing and using large amounts of data in this manner could indeed infringe copyright, and it is the reason why there are increased calls to have some sort of data mining exception to copyright. The UK already has one in place, and this is part of the upcoming Digital Single Market Directive. This is becoming more and more of an important subject as tech companies try to join the AI race and large datasets become a hot commodity. There was quite an argument about machine learning tools and training datasets recently due to the Edmond de Bellamy AI painting. In that occasion, a French artist collective called Obvious used pre-existing machine learning tools to generate a series of paintings, one of which was sold in auction for over $400,000 USD. The portraits used to train the AI were in the public domain, so the possible infringement question of those never arose, but there were arguments at the time that Obvious could be infringing copyright in the algorithms used. In my opinion, this was not the case as all the tools had been released with open source licenses. We are currently witnessing another extremely interesting case that has been uncovered in a very thorough article for NBC News, which reports that millions of photographs posted to picture-sharing site Flickr are being used without consent to train machine learning algorithms. Reporter Olivia Solon writes, the latest company to enter this territory was IBM, which in January released a collection of nearly 1 million photos that were taken from the photo hosting site Flickr and coded to describe the subject's appearance. IBM promoted the collection to researchers as a progressive step toward reducing bias in facial recognition. But some of the photographers whose images were included in IBM's dataset were surprised and disconcerted when NBC News told them that their photographs had been annotated with details including facial geometry and skin tone and may be used to develop facial recognition algorithms. Leaving aside ethical and privacy considerations, one of the most interesting questions raised by this report are the copyright implications of these practices. Can IBM do this legally? If so, how? Firstly, let me start by stating that this is a rather complex area, so I will be oversimplifying quite a bit. If you want some more detail about the legal implications of data mining, this may be a good place to start. When we are talking about training artificial intelligence, it is recognized that having access to a good-sized dataset appropriate for the task is beneficial, and this is why so many companies such as Google continue to provide services that allow them to have access to vast troves of information. Data mining is one way of finding data to feed the algorithms to train them, but in order to do so the researchers need to have access to data, yet this data could be proprietary. Data can be anything that is the subject of the research: music, pictures, paintings, text, poetry, scientific literature, figures, drawings, sketches, etc. Data is not about an individual work, it is all about the accumulated reading of a collection of works. So in order to analyze this information and turn it into something useful, there has to be a process that reads the data. There are lots of different processes and techniques, but these require for the miner to at least copy the data temporarily. The legal situation of this type of access to data varies from one jurisdiction to the other. In the US it has been argued that data mining falls under fair use as being transformative, and I tend to agree with that opinion. See also Authors Guild v Google. In the UK we have fair dealing for data mining for non-commercial uses, and other jurisdictions have adopted, or are thinking of adopting, similar measures. The DSM directive contains one such proposition, although heavily diluted. So in many circumstances, non-commercial data mining to train an AI will be legal. But as this is still a highly uncertain area of the law, and as many companies want to train neural networks for commercial purposes, then those enterprises and researchers will want to use data that is either in the public domain, or under a permissible license, such as a Creative Commons license.